I'm live.
What's it called?
Hit this light for me.
You want to show one of these? It's just an egg. Sure. Oh, you got one section they eat and everything.
Darn it! I left my pants and
Homemade
stuff.
knit griddles.
Oh, you know, I wonder if I turn this way, if I can adjust this light on me. I'm gonna have another light. It's not that bad, but hit this.
Why don't you use
Hit
that
this.
little desk right there?
Because I don't want to sit down. Either way it goes, some of the light is gonna be. Oh, wait. That might work right there.
Oh, that's good.
A little bit. Hold on. The light at both the corners. Hey y'all, then that greetings. Our girl Shalom. I'm trying to figure out how I can make my background a little bit better without the brightness of the light where it's distracting. But I need to make sure it's light enough. Kendra, Shalom, Shalom. You know, I guess it's not really that much change, is it? Let's go that way. I'm sorry. I should have had this together. Either way it go. This is like it's all yellow to me in the back. Maybe I should get my light to put behind here up here. I don't know. We're gonna try it this way. Ema, shalom, shalom. Happy Monday, beautiful people. I left. It's upstairs. Get on the table.
Mm-hmm.
Can you get my cup with all my writing utensils in it, please? It's sitting on my desk. It's upstairs. I forgot to bring it back down. Hey, beautiful people. All right. Happy Monday.
Just really take this and try it.
I'll take your word for it, son. It is Monday, November the 28th, 2022, day 274 of year 4 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets, and of the 4-year consecutive day count, day 1294. Today, we're picking up in Oahspe on page 55. And this is, what book is that we in? We're in the synopsis of 16 cycles, chapter 2. And when we get done, we're going to hop back over here to the Field Guide to the Spirit World on page 142. And Father, we thank you that you are faithful to your plan of creation, that when you put it in place, you know it's perfect, and you leave it alone and let it play itself out as things develop organically. In it, on it, around it, and all the in-betweens that we are still unaware of. All right, beautiful people. Hana, shalom, shalom. And everybody else here hanging out in the background. Top of the morning to you. All right, y'all. He brought my pen. Hold on. Yes, thank you. Can you check make sure that the heat is off down here all the way? Because it seems hot. It's off?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. All right, beautiful people. So we are in chapter 2. Hold on, y'all.
I got what I could get done for that homework. I told they said we also got time in class to do it.
Today?
Yeah, I was like, I'm sorry if it's not, because I feel like when they say that it's not going to be a lot of time, so I'm going to have to kind of look at my group's papers and reword a few things.
Okay. Okay, well, make it use of your time today, son. All right, beautiful people. Kendrick, shalom, shalom, y'all. I missed it last night. I got to go back and watch it. Huh? Yes, I'll call you. All right, beautiful people. Yeah, I gotta go back and watch it. Oh my gosh, I had so much homework and stuff to do. I forgot that by the time I remembered it, y'all had already done it and y'all was offline by the time I actually remembered it. Because I was looking up assignments and going through researching the stuff that I had to put together and all this stuff. And I'm just, plus home and all that stuff. Yeah, I completely forgot about it. All right, y'all. Chapter 2, page 55. God said, God, that is Neph. Neph is the new God. God, that is Neph, said, hear my prayer, O Jehovah. The earth and her heavens are gone down in darkness. The Ehin hath been despoiled on all the divisions of the earth, say Waga. Jeremiah, you gotta get headphones, sir. Like, that's loud. Or you can eat in there. Thank you. Okay, and after the Ehin hath been despoiled on all the divisions. After on is reference number 6, and number 6 at the bottom says destroyed off. Okay, the Ehin have been despoiled on all the divisions of the earth, save Waga. More than 30,000 million angels are gathered on the surface of the earth, and they are too low in grade to be delivered. What shall thy God do, O Father? Mortals are descending in breed. Mortals are descending in breed and blood. Only as diseased vermin do they inhabit the earth. Sheesh. Their cities are destroyed, and they dwell after the manner of four-footed beasts. The inspiration of thy God and his angels can no longer reach them. When they die and enter these heavens, they are as festering sores on one another, thousands of millions of them. Yeah. When they descended in grade while they were still in flesh. When they die and enter these heavens, they are as festering sores on one another, thousands of millions of them. For 3,000 years have I labored with them, but the abundance of their darkness outmatched thy God. What shall I do with them, O Father? How shall thy God deliver so great a carcass of death? But Jehovah answered not the prayer of God, left him to consult with other gods in the higher heavens, left him in darkness another 1,000 years. And after with other gods in the higher heavens is reference number 7. And in square brackets, it says, left him in darkness another 1,000 years. Imagine that, right? So a lot of times when we don't get answers that we think we should get from the creator, we just like, do you even hear me? Yep, it probably means, how some people say if you don't get an answer, it probably means yes, no, or wait. Well, actually, if you get yes or no, that's an answer. But if you don't hear anything, that means wait, right? I would say the Father wants you to you should look at that a little bit better, right? And just waiting to see what you're going to do. Technically, he's waiting to answer you because the answer is probably already there. You're just not seeing it. You got to use your resources around you. That's like when my son asked me a question. Mom, say if he need to spell a word, but he has a phone, right? How do you spell such and such? And I just look at him like I could just rattle it off, right? I'm like, use your critical thinking skills. Because what if I wasn't right here? Who would you ask? Would you get a dictionary? Would you use your phone that's right in your hand, right? And you can ask Siri or you could ask Google because you got both of them. Or you could actually go to Google and type it in. Type in how you think it's spelled, and Google will suggest to you the right spelling of what it thinks you're trying to spell, right? So it's probably one of those type things. And that's what it seemed like. Listen, verse 10. What shall I do with them, O Father? How shall thy God deliver so great a carcass of death? Now he's current God of earth, right? It says in verse 11, but Jehovah answered not the prayer of God, left him to consult with other gods in the higher heavens, left him in darkness another 1,000 years. He like, use your resources, son. Like you came straight to me without even checking this stuff first, right? I believe that a lot of times that's what the Father is doing with us when we have issues and stuff and prayer requests and trying to figure something out, right? Dawn, blessings. Blessings. Shayla, hey girl. Hey, Anita, greetings. Shebrew. Hey sis. Okay. Verse 12, page 55. But in Ethera, Jehovah spake to his Orion chiefs, saying, As I try mortals, so do I try angels. As I try them, so do I try my gods. Forever and ever do I keep before them the testimony of an all higher. Now it came to pass on the earth that the time of a generation of mortals had risen from 12 years to 80 years. Oh, something else. I was about to say ain't got nothing to do with the price of tea in China, but it really does. Something I noticed also when referring to the Creator in the Holy Megillah, it refers to Him as the all, right? The all, just like we see here in Oahspe, the all source of light, the all source of everything. You'll see that as you go through it. Now it had come to pass on earth that the time of a generation of mortals had risen from 12 years to 80 years, and there were many who lived to be 300 years old, and they had become very large, twice the size of the men this day. But they were without judgment and of little sense. Hardly knew they their own species, and they mingled together, relatives as well as others, so that idiocy and disease were the general fate of the tribes of men, and they were large and strong and prolific. This is interesting. There is in the movie RIPD, Rest in Peace Division, in the second one. It's the second one? Yeah, I think it's the second one. Yeah, the second one. When right after he was leaving, he had accepted the orders to become a part of the the RIPD department. RIPD is department. But anyway, once he said yes, and he got his orders on where he was going back on Earth, when he was leaving from that little heavenly office with the all white background, talking to the girl, right? When he was leaving out, there was a door he had to go through. When I read this, where it says, hold on. Verse 13. Now it had come to pass on earth that the time of a generation of mortals had risen from 12 years to 80 years, and there were many who lived to be 300 years old, and they had become very large, twice the size of men, twice of the size of the men of this day. They made a comment when he was going through the door that it was small, right? So he had to bend down. She said, okay, you get there, just go through here. And he looked at the door. It was like a door for midgets, not to be disrespectful when I say the word midget, but he looked and he was like I gotta bend down. Is that a door for humans? And she said, oh, well, humans have grown in size over time. We just never fixed it. Go ahead through. Right. I caught that when she said it, based on some things that I've learned throughout different manuals and stuff, and how it shows like sizes have increased but yet decreased as well. So I thought that was interesting that she said that. Kizzy, shalom, shalom. Auntie, happy Monday. Gary CM, shalom, shalom. All right, verse 13, page 55. I'm going to read it again. Now it had come to pass on earth that the...
God.
All right, very good, son. Go brush your teeth.
I'm about to contact these whatever's myself and be like, y'all hurry up. Niggas ain't trying to live in this system no more, bro.
Jeremiah, listen, it's called daily consistency and progression. You can't speed up things. You have to walk. Problem. You got to walk through each day. All right. It develops patience and character. Yes, that's why you want to get one at a time.
Oh, you thought it was funny, though.
Now it had come to pass on earth that the time of a generation of mortals had risen from 12 years to 80 years, and there were many who lived to be 300 years old, and they had become very large, twice the size of the men of this day. But they were without judgment and of little sense. Hardly knew they their own species, and they mingled together, relatives as well as others, so that idiocy and disease were the general fate of the tribes of men, and they were large and strong and prolific. Right? So they They wasn't following the laws of incest, meaning don't do it. They was sleeping with everybody, cousin, relatives. That's why the idiocy was at an all-time high. This then that followed is the grade of declension in the heavens of the earth, that is, after Kishalon had changed the period of generation from 12 years into the upper grades, to wit, Abner, seventh dawn of Dan, enduring 3,200 years, and Hastaff, Etherian Aji, 7, Hotan, hold on, Hotan, grade 99. Okay, so at the beginning of verse 15, after Abner, it's reference letter C. So hop to the back. Page 58, at the bottom, C says, the names listed through verse 23 are the Etherian administrators of the realms receiving the harvest at the end of each cycle. From the 7th through the 15th cycle, they had the record of the grades of the harvest received, which declined from 99 to 51, with 51 being the lowest grade that could be raised to Ethera. Oh, yeah, so 1 over 50, right? You had to kind of like break the balance and be 1 over. Okay, 51. Hold on. They had the record of the angels of the harvest received, which declined from 99 to 51, with 51 being the lowest grade that could be raised to Ethera. Note that the seventh cycle for the earth was under the Etherian god Gopins, chapter 1, verse 15, and the 16th cycle was under the Etherian god Neph, chapter 1, verse 33, who had no harvest. Elijah Shalom. Okay, so go back, page 56. I'll reread verse 15. Abner, seventh dawn of Dan, enduring 3,200 years, in Hastaff, Etherian Aji 7, Hotan, grade 99. Isini, goddess of Marseph, Ethera, Dan of Jem, enduring 3,000 years, grade 93. Boaz, god of home, Orion field, Dan of Josh, enduring 2,700 years, grade 88. Daivi, goddess of Witski, and Aji 36, Dan of Ruth, enduring 2,900 years, grade 82. Liamis, goddess of war, in Broek, Dan 40, Orion field, Simsi, enduring 3,000 years, grade 77. Devias, god of huts, in Habak, Gia 22, Neth, enduring 3,100 years, grade 69. Royisius, goddess of Tamak, Bent, one of Hudu outs, enduring 3,070 years, grade 61. Okay, I was wondering if there was a and it does show, but not really. It seems like the lower they fall in grade, the longer time they had to rule. That's what I was looking back over. But for the first few verses, it does seem to be that way, that the more time they had, the grade fell just a little bit lower. Royisi's, goddess of Tamak, bent, one of Hoodoo outs, enduring 3,070 years, grade 61. Yish, chief of Orion field, Lud and Gu, Dan 74, enduring 2,600 years, grade 58. Gulyanev, chieftainess, Orion field, Ablau and Gia 40, enduring 3,400 years, grade 51. From this time onward, there was found no grade in the roadway of the solar phalanx, the great serpent, or the solar system, sufficiently dense for the angels of the heavens of the earth. Let me read it again. From this time onward, there was found no grade in the roadway of the solar phalanx, great serpent, sufficiently dense for the angels of the heavens of the earth. Chapter 3, a time of 1,000 years of darkness. And after darkness is reference number 8, and at the bottom it says, the time of 1,000 years of darkness. Prince, shalom, shalom. These grades they are gaining as individuals. That's a good question. They, I'm thinking, I'm thinking, no, wait, hold on.
Tomorrow.
Hold on, Jeremiah. I'm thinking. All right, son. Didn't I send you her number?
But Dad told me that I have an appointment Tuesday. I was like,
okay, well, normally she booked for a couple months out. So call her. If you can't pull up her calendar, boy, you won't let me go? I appreciate the long hugs and stuff. Shebrew said, hey. She said, baby bro. No, she's talking to Prince. She said, Jeremiah, and put hearts. Okay. I'm thinking this has to do, I don't think it's individual. I think it's their whole because it was talking about the graduation of the whole realm that was under them. So I'm thinking during their time, that grade was for their class, so to speak, not individual, but they get a. I think they're graded. When you ruled, this was the grade of everybody. When this was the grade of your class, 58. Like you just made it, bruh. Right? That's what I think based on what we were just previously reading. And when he was asking the father, what am I going to do with them? And the father didn't answer. He left him to consult the other gods that was a little bit higher than him instead of coming straight to him. Remember talking about the resources on how to get these people going and raised up. So I'm thinking it was the grade of their entire class. Yeah, I'm thinking it's the grade of the entire class. Give me, there was, yeah, from this time onward, there was found no grade in the roadway of the solar phalanx, great serpent, sufficiently dense for the angels of heaven of the earth. Yeah, I'm thinking it was for the whole class. Give me 1 second. I gotta cut this air on. It's hot. Sorry, y'all. Like when I say it's hot, and this water ain't making it any cooler. This heat works really good. I'm grateful for that. But I didn't realize I was gonna get hot so quick. All right, y'all. Tabitha, hey girl, hey. Okay, so let's go to chapter 3, page 56. Where we at? Okay. Well, this is a long chapter. It's actually the end of the book. So we'll finish reading this and then we'll hop over. It's only 3 chapters. Synopsis of 16 cycles. Okay. Chapter 3, a time of 1,000 years of darkness. And we just read the number 8, and that's in square brackets, the time of 1,000 years of darkness. Jehovah moved upon the Etherian worlds and the wide regions where traveleth the great serpent. His voice went forth, and amongst the counselors, the high ruling chieftains of the exalted kingdoms in the firmament, he spoke, saying, Hear me, O ye chieftains, be ye far seeing in my traveling worlds, and alert to my word. Words. Let me read the whole thing over. Hear me, O ye chieftains, be ye far seeing in my traveling worlds, and alert to my words. Behold, the red star, the earth, hath attained her maturity, but she is rank. And after rank, there's a exclamation mark and the number 9. And that 9 at the bottom, it says, but she is ranked the same thing, but it's in square brackets. As a daughter cometh forth in the prime of life, so standeth the young earth in her glory. For 50,000 years hath she played her part as an ornament of heaven and a harvester of bright souls for my exalted regions in a firmament. And after for 50,000 years is reference letter D. And D on page 58 says, 50,000 years refers to the time from the first harvest to Ethera under Sathantes through the 16 cycles. It does not refer to the time from the creation of mankind. Hold on, I gotta take this off. This is too much. It's hot. Can't do it. I already got this head wrap on. About to pass out. Okay. Okay. All right, y'all. Let's go back. Hold on. Let me read verse 2 again. Hear me, O ye chieftains, be ye far seeing in my traveling worlds, and alert to my words. Behold, the red star, the earth, hath attained her maturity, but she is rank. As a daughter cometh forth in the prime of life, so standeth the young earth in her glory. For 50,000 years she hath played her part as an ornament of heaven and a harvester of bright souls for my exalted regions in the firmament. Gather together, O ye Orion chiefs, and ye Etherian goddesses, and ye that dwell in the roadway of the great serpent. Call ye a council of my everlasting rulers of worlds, and of them that plant my Aegean gardens and my Gian fields, and of them that whirl my nebulous vortices in the firmament. The voice of Jehovah extended across the wide universe, and those who were high raised in the management of worlds heard and comprehended. And there assembled in the Etherian gardens of Sinea, near the roadway of the solar phalanx, millions of Jehovah's highest, was and the place was a park larger than 100 times the earth, and round about on every side lieth the crystalline borders of the Etherian worlds. And when they were assembled, Jehovah spake out of the light inherent, saying, 16 times have my Etherian host redeemed the earth and her heavens from darkness into light, and yet ere the end of a cycle she falleth again, and her atmosphere with her. And now it have come to pass that her heavens are filled with thousands of millions of spirits that know not me and my emancipated worlds. Speak ye, O gods and goddesses. It's time to give account. Like, what's going on down here? Look. Thereupon, hold on. Yeah, verse 7, page 56. Thereupon Sutlu said, O Jehovah, I have heard, I have beholden. Too prolific is the earth, the young daughter of heaven. Too prolific is the red star of the firmament. Next spake Kawaha, saying, Thou hast spoken, O Jehovah. Too prolific is the rich earth, O Father. Her mortals are overpowered by her atmospherian host. Her people build up cities and nations for a season after dawn, but soon they are overflooded by Fetals and Druhas, and the mortals devour one another as beasts of prey. So in order for this to happen, one of y'all got to be sleeping on your job and slipping, because why are they even allowed to go back, to see their mortals? They getting away from y'all. So it seems like there's a breakdown in communication up here, right? Because y'all are the administrators over this down here, yet you're blaming them, right? They got to take some of the blame, but it seemed like everybody passing the buck to me. I don't know. Hold on. Verse 9, Chijong said, Her people have tilled all the soil of the earth and covered it over with cities, but where are they? Her people have been learned in the matters of heaven and earth, but their knowledge is dissipated by the dread hand of war. Duida said, Her people become wise in a day, but on the next they are fools. One generation becometh skilled in books and in knowledge of the sun and moon and stars, and in the mathematics of corporeal things. But a generation followeth, and lo, her people are cannibals again. Galzin said, I have heard, O Jehovah, I have witnessed, O Father. The red star is too prolific. She is like a garden too rich. Her products are overgrown, and they fall down and doubly enrich the soil again to reproduce an imperfect giant stalk that is barren. So are her sons and daughters. They all run to earthly substances. Luan said, Great Spirit, I have heard, I have seen. We gather the earth's harvest for thee, O Jehovah, but they are small. We gather the earth's harvest of dark spirits, O Jehovah, and they are 10 times larger. Behold, there is no balance between them. Thus spake the gods and goddesses, till thousands of them had spoken. After that, the voice of Jehovah spake, saying, Ye are blessed, my sons and daughters. How can ye bequeath the administration of the earth and her heaven to the earthborn, till she is made suitable as a gift from my hand? Now hear me, O my sons and daughters. 5 great divisions of the earth have I made, and they have all been inhabited over and tilled by mortals. Yea, on all the divisions of the earth, there have been great cities and nations, and men and women of great learning. As oft as they are raised up in light, so are they again cast down in darkness, because of the great desire of the spirits of the dead to return back to the earth. These Druhas return to mortals and fasten upon them as feudals or as familiars, and inspire them to evil. Go now to the earth, O my beloved, and find the division of the earth where most of these Druhas congregate, for I will uproot their stronghold. I will break them from their haunts, and they shall no longer carry my people down to destruction. And now the council deliberated, and after a while caused the records of the earth and her atmosphere to be examined, and they discovered that the heaven of the land of Waga, Pan, was beyond redemption, because of the great numbers of the spirits of the cannibals and of the multitude of feedals. It was as if a disease in the flesh be healed over externally, leaving the root of the disease within. Ooh, and that stinks. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Imagine, ooh, just think about it. Think about that happening on your skin, on your flesh somewhere. Still being rotten to the core, but heals over, scabs over on the top, right? It's nasty. It oozes and it stinks. Yes, baby.
Can I please put the batteries in and then put them back?
What you about? No.
Please?
No, so y'all can randomly just go take it out and run through the house with it?
No. I'm just doing it.
So it's already ready? Okay, go ahead. I'll allow it. Tikva, hey girl, hey. Jamia, hey girl, hey. Animalistic nature, peace, y'all. All right, listen. But yeah, that's nasty, right? Hold on. Let me read it again. Verse 16, page 57. And now the council deliberated, and after a while caused the records of the earth and her atmosphere to be examined. And they discovered that the heaven of the land of Waga, which is Pan, was beyond redemption, because of the great numbers of the spirits of the cannibals and of the multitude of feedals. It was as if a disease in the flesh be healed over externally, leaving the root of the disease within. So was Waga and her heaven. The redemption of the cycles remained not with her, but evil broke out forever in a new way. So Jehovah said, Now will I prune the earth and her heaven. Behold, the division of Waga shall be hewn off and cast beneath the waters of the ocean. Her heaven shall no longer be able, her heaven shall be no longer tenable by the spirits of destruction, for I will rend the foundation thereof and scatter them in the winds of heaven. Go ye therefore down to the earth and provide nets and Vanchas for receiving the spirits of darkness, and for receiving the spirits of mortals who shall perish in the waters, and provide ye a place in my exalted heavens suitable for them, and ye shall wall them about in heaven, that they cannot escape, but that they may be weaned from evil. And I had to think about this, right? Granted, we know the whole continent sunk, right? So, but you think, I'm like, well, darn, so you just murdered all them people on Pan? Like, because I'm thinking, right? The father saying not to murder, kill, and all this stuff. But if you go back up, right, they had already, everybody there had already been so infected and infiltrated by the spirits that was there, where it said that there was no hope for them. Hold on, what verse?
Look. They have gained weight.
They have gained. Yes. Okay. Very good. Make sure you throw the trash away. Put that knife back in that block over there. Where? Was maybe I went too far back. Hold on. Facet division. Congregate no longer. What was that verse that I just read? I mean, I read it over here, but there was another verse that I'm talking about. Oh, I had to come back to it. It's something specific I'm looking for. I don't know, I'm probably just looking over it. Okay. I'll just go back up to 17. So Jehovah said, now will I prune the earth and her heaven. Behold, the division of Waga shall be hewn off and cast beneath the waters of the ocean. Her heavens shall be no longer tenable by the spirits of destruction, for I will rend the foundation thereof and scatter them in the winds of heaven. So it wasn't just getting rid of not really getting rid of. It's redirecting the spirits. So even the people that actually died, their spirits would have now been a part of those who had been lingering and affecting Pan for this long time. So all of them together, even though they lost their flesh, all of the spirits of all of them that died, plus all the ones in the atmosphere that was affecting them, all of them had to be rescued. So the whole continent, they're gonna sink it, and they took all of them to a place where they could restore them. Okay. So Jehovah said, now will I prune the earth and her heaven. Behold, the division of Waga shall be hewn off and cast beneath the waters of the ocean. Her heaven shall be no longer tenable by the spirits of destruction, for I will rend the foundation thereof and scatter them in the winds of heaven. Go ye therefore down to the earth and provide nets and vanchas for receiving the spirits of darkness, and for receiving the spirits of mortals who shall perish in the waters, and provide ye a place in my exalted heavens suitable for them, and ye shall wall them about in heaven, that they cannot escape, but that they may be weaned from evil. And when they are come to the earth and its heavens, and when ye are come to the earth and its heavens, acquaint my God and his lords with my decree, and say to them, thus saith Jehovah, behold, I will sink the land of Waga beneath the waters of the ocean, and her heaven will I carry away to a place in my firmament, where she shall no longer engulf my people in darkness. And Jehovah said, go thou, O heaven, go thou, O God of heaven, and thou, O Lord of Waga, down to my chosen, the Ehines, and say to them, thus saith the great Spirit, behold, I will sink the lands of the earth beneath the ocean, because of the evil of the spirits of darkness. Hear me, O my chosen, and heed my commandments. Fall to all hands and build ships in all places, even in the valleys and on the mountains, and let my faithful gather together within the ships, for my hand is surely stretched over the earth. So this is where we get the Noah story. Sorry, Facebook. Sorry. This is where we get the story of the flood and Noah, right? So it does the same thing in all of the well, not all, in most of the manuscripts and scrolls and documents and stuff that we find, we see that there is like one person, to whereas here in Oahspe we found out that the one person, like Noah is like a time period, right? Not a person, but people within this time period of Noah were saved from this destruction of Pan. So all the righteous that were on Pan, they were warned so they could escape. So it wasn't just one ark. There were multiple arks all around Waga, all around Pan, right? And they were preparing to escape this when the floods came, right? Okay. Uncle JB, shalom. Nazarene is singing, shalom, shalom. Nasarayahu, shalom, shalom. Okay. Let me just reread 19 again. And when ye are come to the earth and its heavens, acquaint my God and his lords with my decree, and say to them, thus says Jehovah, behold, I will sink the land of Waga beneath the waters of the ocean, and her heaven will I carry away to a place of my firmament, where she shall no longer engulf my people in darkness. And Jehovah said, go thou, O God of heaven, and thou God of Waga, Go thou, O God of heaven, and thou, O Lord of Waga, go down to my chosen, the Ehings, and say to them, thus saith the great Spirit, behold, behold, I will sink the lands of the earth beneath the ocean because of the evil spirits of darkness. Hear me, O my chosen, and heed my commandments. Fall to all hands and build ships in all places, even in the valleys and on the mountains, and let my faithful gather together within the ships, for my hand is surely stretched over the earth. And ye shall also proclaim unto the earth and her heaven that from the first, even in the ancient days, I proclaim my three worlds unto all people, which are my corporal worlds, and the lower heaven that belongeth thereto, and my ethereal heavens, which are in the firmament above. And I said, the first glory is of the earth, whereon is paradise, when man obeyeth my commandments. And the second glory, which is greater than the first, I created for the spirits of the dead, but I bound the lower heaven to the earth, that it might travel therewith, that the communication of the dead with the living might add a glory unto both. But the upper heaven I made the highest of all glories, and I filled the ethereal firmament with countless worlds of their kind for the dwelling places of those that rose in the third resurrection. And I sent from the exalted heavens down to the lower heavens. Let me just bring out this point real quick that I just kind of glossed over, right? We're talking about the glory. Let me read this again. Go back up towards the middle of verse 20, where it says, and I said, the first glory is of the earth, whereon is paradise when man obeyeth my commandments, right? So when we're walking according to the Creator and his laws of life, it seems like, even though it may seem like we don't have the perfect life, but we don't really want for anything. We're always taken care of. Even if there are some lessons or we have to wait on some things, the Father tends to take care of those that belong to him, and those who are heartfelt and walking in life and just doing what they should do, right? It seemed like all good things come to them, right? And I said, the first glory of the earth, whereupon is paradise, when man obeyeth my commandments. And the second glory, which is greater than the first, I created for the spirits of the dead. This is what I'm talking about right here. I created for the spirits of the dead. You done? Are you done? Are you done? Just leave it. We'll get it in a minute. Thank you. And the second glory, which is greater than the first, I created for the spirits of the dead. But I bound the lower heaven to the earth, that it might travel therewith, that the communication of the dead with the living might add glory unto both. right? And when I read that, I think about how people are having these out of body experiences. They're able to test things in the spirit world with the out of body experiences, astral projection, remote viewing, whatever you want to term it, right? They're able to test that second type glory so that it can add wisdom unto us. And as we add the wisdom that we learn from there to us, we can in turn help them and help raise them up. That's what I thought about. That was the point I wanted to bring out. So I'm gonna just read the whole verse 20 again, and I'll keep going. We're on page 57. And ye shall also proclaim unto the earth and her heaven that from the first, even in the ancient days, I proclaim my three worlds unto all people, which are my corporal worlds and the lower heavens that belong thereto, and my ethereal heavens, which are in the firmament above. And I said, the first glory is of the earth, whereon is paradise when man obeyeth my commandments. And the second glory, which is greater than the first, I created for the spirits of the dead, but I bound the lower heaven to the earth that it might travel therewith, that the communication of the dead with the living might add a glory unto both. But the upper heaven I made the highest of all glories, and I filled the ethereal firmament with countless worlds of their kind for the dwelling places of those that rose in the third resurrection. And I sent from the exalted heavens down to the lower heavens and to the earth also my holy angels, over whom I appointed gods and lords in the majesty of my dominions. And they came proclaiming these things in my name, teaching both mortals and spirits how to live, that they might rise and inherit my illuminated worlds. And because man was without knowledge, my gods and lords appointed certain masters of generations, Lewis, who were Ethereans of great wisdom, to abide with mortals and inspire such marriages as would best promote spiritual growth from the start. And there came forth amongst all people certain ones capable of Sargus and Suis, and they heeded the commandments of my gods and lords, forsaking evil and striving to serve the Spirit, choosing me above all things. Wherefore I choose them also and call them Ehings. For as much as they commenced putting away self and serving me, whilst they were yet in corpore, so were they not born in the spirit world before their full time. That's good. For as much as they commenced putting away self and serving me whilst they were yet in corpore, so they were not born in the spirit world before their full time, meaning they didn't die early, right? That's good. For as much, when verse 23, page 57. For as much as they commenced putting away self and serving me, serving Creator, whilst they were yet in corporal, still here in the flesh, having your body, so were they not born in the spirit world before their full time. Born in the spirit world, we call death here. Okay. And even so are others not of full birth, who have not in the corporal form begun to triumph in spirit over their own flesh. Sheesh. Let's highlight that. I got it marked from the first time, but let's highlight it this time. Right? You got two kinds. You got those who are walking according to the commandments of life, and those who have yet to even learn the rules and regulations of their own flesh and conquer it. Listen, let me read the whole verse again, verse 23. When the synopsis of 16 cycles, chapter 3, which is the last chapter in this book, and we almost done. This verse 23 is 31 verses, and that's the end of the chapter and the book. Listen, verse 23, page 57. For as much as they commenced putting away self and serving me whilst they were yet in corporate. How do we serve Creator? Let's just identify that real quick. How do we serve? How do we stop being selfish and serve Creator? What does that look like? I'm gonna just ask y'all before I just say it. What does that look like? What is serving Creator according to this? Putting away self. For as much as they commenced putting away self and serving me. What does he mean by serving me? For as much as they commenced putting away self and serving me whilst they were yet in corpore, so were they not born in the spirit world before their full time? Shebrew, okay. First answer. Okay. All right. Everybody paying attention. Everybody know. I know. I'm just want to make sure ain't nobody dozed off on me. Right. That's serving others. We put away everything selfish, me, and we worry about how our brethren and our sisterin is doing. We go to see about them. We check on them, right? How can we help you, right? And not that we are trying to help you so we can make sure we rise, but it's a genuine, heartfelt, let me come see about you, right? You know? So, but yes, y'all got it. Service to others, serving others, serve others, service to others, service done unto others. All right, everybody tracking. All right. For as much as they commenced putting away self and serving me whilst they were yet in corpore, so were they not born in the spirit world before their full time. So it's a promise, and clearly we can see that some people they wicked and they just live long, but it's a promise. It's a promise. I know you got like different instances where we see or we read about like somebody doing good for the Lord and then they're slaughtered or hung for preaching his name or something like that. I think there's a little more that goes into some of the details of some of this stuff, right? So but from just kind of like looking at it from the outside looking in, sometimes we may not fully understand what's happening on the inside, right? For as much as they commenced putting away self and serving me whilst they were yet in corpore, so were they not born in the spirit world before their full time. And even so are others not of full birth, who have not in the corporal form begun to triumph in spirit over their own flesh. Jehovah said, go forth, O my sons and daughters, and prune my vineyard. Beseech my God of the earth and his lords with him to gather together all the angels of the earth from the east to the west and from north to south to the land of Waga. Bring them. My Ethereal ships of fire shall surround. Hold on. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, look, let me read this again. Jehovah said, go forth, my sons and daughters, and prune my vineyard. Beseech my God of the earth and his lords with him. Gather together all the angels of the earth from east to west, from north to south, to the land of Waga. Bring them. Right. So when he's saying prune my vineyard, go prune my orchard, right? It's time to burn some of this dross up, right? So you go to every continent and all the spirits who have declined and are in Druge state, they're deranged, they're causing havoc upon the earth, gather them up. Bring them all to Waga. We're going to do this in one fell swoop. Bring them all, east, west, north, and south. Bring them all to Waga, right here in the center. Bring them all. East, west, north, south. Bring them all right here to Waga. Get everybody right here. Everybody. Call a meeting. We need a meeting right here. And when everybody get there, we're going to roll with the plan. Right? So now you got a clean sweep of all the land masses all over the earth. Right? You can kind of start fresh without taking everybody out, so to speak. Listen. Verse 24. Jehovah said, go forth, my sons and daughters, and prune my vineyard. Beseech my God of earth and his lords with him to gather together all the angels of the earth from east to west, from north to south, to the land of Waga. Bring them. My Ethereal ships of fire shall surround Waga on every side, and I will cut loose the foundations of the earth at the borders of the ocean and the mountains of Gan, nor shall any prop or cornerstone stay my hand. Right. So here is what we learned the first time we was reading through. This is what caused the major deluge, where you have the flood stories in all the world, right? But they tell you the flood story without telling you about Pan, and just tell you that there was an angry God that got pissed with everybody on the earth and decided to wipe everybody out except for the righteous. And technically, some of the details of that story is correct. Most of your details is correct, right? But it's the person who told you the story that skewed your perception about what really happened. Yes, there was a flood, a bunch of people was wiped out. Yes, that's the story. But they should have told you the full story. There was a whole continent that was sunk, and the ripples of that sinking caused the flood to spread out over all the land masses, right? This was the cause of the great deluge, the sinking of the continent of Pan. Listen. Go read the stories again and you will see the clues. You can read through the book of Enoch. You can read through the Genesis story. Go to Jubilees and Jasher and some of the other places and other religions that have the deluge story. And you can see remnants of the truth in there. But nobody ever mentions about the sinking of Pan that actually caused it. They just begin with the flood coming. And granted, they could have been one of the ones in the story passed down the line. Oh, we knew that there was a flood coming, right? But they didn't know what the cause of the flood was, right? It's just the windows of heaven and the water spouts below the ground all opened up. And, that's all we know about that. Verse 25, beseech my God of the earth and his lords with him to gather together all the angels of the earth from east to west, from north to south, to the land of Waga. Bring them. My Etherian ships of fire shall surround Waga on every side, and I will cut loose the foundations of the earth at the borders of the ocean and the mountains of Gan. Nor shall any prop or cornerstone stay my hand, and I will send rains and winds and thunderings, and the waters of the great deep shall come upon the lands, and the great cities shall go down to be swallowed in the sea, and the rich valleys of Mai, M-A-I, and the rich valleys of May, with her 1,000 cities, shall be rent with the madness of men and women fleeing. Your dad bought them. And the rich valleys of May, with her 1,000 cities, shall be rent with the madness of men and women fleeing before the waters of the ocean. And women and children shall fall by the way and be drowned, and men shall go down in the water and rise not. And the wide plains of Og, with her 1,000 cities, and with the great capital of Pinge, and the temples of Ku and Bart and Gan and Sang, shall sink to rise no more. And in the deluge, the air of heaven shall be filled with the screaming and wailing of millions of mortals going down to destruction. I will rescue them from darkness. Like the sinking of Pan was like the last ditch effort to save humanity. The ones that had already passed into spirit and those who were on their way to dying in chaos anyway. So as a last ditch effort, we got to rescue them all. This is like last plan. This is plan. If all these other plans A through Y didn't work, like this is absolutely last resort. Like Z, this is absolutely the last thing we want to do. We want to try and get them raised up, teach them that way they can live, and the even if they have fetals attached to them, even the fetals that are attached to them, they'll grow stronger than the fetals, which will in turn raise up the fetals, and they can all rise together. But all them plans have failed with this particular generation. Bring everybody to Waga. That's horrible. But that's what happened. When you hear bring everybody to Waga, we know Plan Z is in effect. Plan Z is in effect, my G. And the wide plains of Og, with her 1,000 cities, and with the great capital of Pinge, and the temples of Ku and Bar and Gan and Sang, shall sink to rise no more. And in the deluge, the air of heaven shall be filled. You are just, boy, you just want to play with stuff that make noise. And in the deluge, the air of heaven shall be filled with the screaming and wailing of millions of mortals going down to destruction. I will rescue them from darkness. I will carry them to Asian regions, which I previously created for spirits of darkness, and I will appoint over them gods and goddesses to teach them of me and my kingdoms. Even in this, our Creator is so merciful. Even people who think that they're going to hell, eventually they are. That's just kind of, we can call it like a temporary holding spot until we can figure out what place best suits you.
You hot?
Yeah, I came down here, it was burning up. I cut on air,
I see.
took my jacket off. Like it was hot. Like the thing said 78 degrees. Normally it's freezing cold down here. That's why I be coming down here with my hoodies and stuff on all the time.
You don't have to put on heat though.
Yeah, I know. But it was hot. I know it feels good right now. Okay. Hold on. Verse 29. I will rescue them from darkness. I will carry them to Asian regions, which I previously created for spirits of darkness, and I will point over them gods and goddesses to teach them of me and my kingdoms. And the earth and her heavens shall take a new start amongst my habitable worlds. Thus have I provided labor for my high-raised angels in the places I created, saith Jehovah. And that is the end of chapter 3, and it's also the end of the synopsis of 16 cycles. And there is a plate here, plate 4. It's the earth and its atmosphere in heavens. And in it, I'm gonna show you, it looks like an eye, really. Like zoomed in the multiple levels of it. And it has the letters going around it. So I'm gonna read the letters and I'm gonna show you the picture or the plate. E represents Etheria, right? So Etheria is like the outermost region, right? The outermost region, and you can see E's at the north, south, east, and west points. And then B is the periphery of the Earth's vortex. This line was called by the ancients the bridge of Chinvant. With all this area, all within this area is called atmosphere. The center is the Earth. O is the ocean. 1, 2, and 3 represent atmospheric plateaus. The OOO with a line through it represents atmospheric oceans. Okay, so this is for Facebook. Let me move this. Right there. All right. All right. You too. All right, son. Love you. Drive safe. Okay. All right. So that is that. So we're done with this, and we'll take a few minutes and read a couple pages in the field guide to the spirit world. I don't think we're gonna get finished with this chapter because I think we got a little bit more to go. Hold on. So grab it and hop over to page 142, Purgatory. Right? Temporary holding spot. So we get you to where you can best be taught. Let's call it that. Until we can get you to where you can best be taught. So you can rise up higher than your current state of idiocracy. Page 142. Okay, so yesterday we left off by reading table 6.1, which was headaches signal entity intrusion and bizarre homicides. So it's 2 pages with lists of different people who had different types of headaches, the nature of them, and the signs that they showed of being overshadowed, right? Like hearing like the voices of the devil, what they call that, or different things that people who are in degraded in spirit, they do, like the cursing, stomping, things of that nature, right? Automatism, sleepwalking, lost time, all that type of stuff. So that's what we left off at, reading that chart and picking back up on page 142. To man of the West, headaches are just headaches, but in much of the third world, ailments of every kind are regarded as provoked by spirits, often their own deceased but restive kin. In the peasant societies surveyed by Crappizzano and Garrison, 1977, page 289, spiritualist cults are an accepted part of life, and headache sufferers know they can turn to them when all else fails. In one case, carefully followed in Sri Lanka, the young woman's headaches and all signs of possession were eradicated when she was exorcised. Similarly, in Puerto Rican culture, an antic de obsession is said to indicate, quote, disembodied spirits that molest the living, end quote. When one such entity is when one such entity was identified, he confessed through the medium of the spiritualista to the various ills he had caused: headaches in the frontal and occipital lobes, stomach problems, pains in the kidneys, clouded visions, and accidents. After the confession, a protecting spirit of the medium took the entity, off to a spiritual school. That's interesting. Also, I noticed when we if you would probably already read through it already, but once we start reading through um, the Essenes Gospel of Peace, when it starts talking about like the angel of the air and the angel of water and the angel of peace, and start talking about how they relate to the body and clean out, and you begin to literally take control of your flesh, it actually labels some of the diseases and things that we have in our body as devils, right? Which makes sense, right? Because it different things have been linked to demonic possession. Meat eating is being one, right? So when you do that, you open yourself up to these type of ailments, which that labels like demons, and we'll call them. And we kind of sanitize everything was parasites and stuff. And granted, you got physical parasites that begin to form in your body, but attached to them is also spiritual entities. And then you get over compulsiveness, different other things that the West terms, they give these sanitized medical terms to describe all of this, right? But once you begin to you apply some spiritual medicine to it, so to speak, by like fasting, right? Because when you begin to fast, you begin to starve all these entities of the sustenance that they gain from hanging around you, right? It's like you become dead to them. They can't get nothing from you. You're not out of control no more. They can't control you. You have grown stronger than they have, and they flee from you, right? So that's interesting. When one such entity was identified, he confessed through the medium of the spiritualista to the various ills he had caused: headaches in the frontal lobe and occipital lobes, stomach problems, pain in the kidneys, clouded vision, and accidents. After the confession, quote, a protecting spirit of the medium took the entity, off to a spiritual school, end quote. In Brazil, a person suffering from headaches, on failing to obtain relief from a medical doctor, may turn to an Umbanda spirit for supernatural assistance. Umbandis enjoy citing examples of individuals who were dismissed as incurable by psychologists and were later cured by spiritual means. I was checking to see if my mama had came in. Ma, you here? I was gonna ask you something. Okay. Moroccans say, quote, you can only see the jinn, Jinn, a class of spirits, when you're asleep, end quote. When a fellow named Muhammad was, quote, struck by a jinn, end quote, he held the jinn responsible for his dizziness, his depressions, his dreams, and his headaches. In Senegal, a priestess to be in the cult of ancestral spirits was stricken with her, quote, initiatory illness, end quote. She felt her, quote, head splitting in two, end quote. A rite was then performed, and soon after, she began to develop her own healing powers. In Egypt, a woman named Aziza became ill soon after the death of her beloved brother. Stomach trouble, swollen legs, and headaches that followed bad dreams. Quote, Aziza's case shows general characteristics of possession, end quote. The possessor was appearing in her nightmares, running after Aziza, chasing her. Then Aziza wakes up with a headache. Whereon the sheikh recommended a ceremony of reconciliation, or sulha, and the rite of zar to remove the spirit that had gained access to the host in her weakest moment. Often this means moments of unconsciousness. When Aziza had heard that her brother died, she fainted. It was after that loss of consciousness that she began to have the frightening recurrent dream. Crapazano and Garrison, 1977, page 289, page 410, page 397, page 340, page 113, page 102, and pages 184 through 85. Miss Amazing Wonder, shalom, sis. Page 143. Nightmares. The most obvious and pervasive time of unconsciousness is, of course, during sleep. As Aziza's story unfolded, it was learned that in countries where the czar is practiced, Egypt, Sudan, and Ethiopia, the spirit usually becomes visible only to the one who is clairvoyant or to the dreamer. It is also a fact that in Jordan, people often dream of the jinn. Jinn possession via nightmares is well known in that country, and ritual specialists are available to exorcise the disturbing spirits. Jinn in parts of Africa are called Al Injinu or Ya Injini. Ya Injini. Yeah, I think. While in Arabic, Jinn is the figure to whom trance states are attributed. They speak and act through the entranced subject, which sounds almost like a description of MPD, or multiple personality disorder. The multiple Eve, Chris Seasmore, had violent nightmares followed by sleepwalking episodes. Why do multiples suffer such troublesome dreams? These are the dots that psychology can't or won't connect, leaving the most important questions unanswered or giving as a non answer. We simply do not know. More research funding is needed. Nevertheless, there is an answer in sight, but only if altered states of consciousness are given full recognition. Perspective is part of this. Quote, much of the world, end quote, observes Stafford Betty, 2012, page 35, is a, hold on, quote, much of the world observes Stafford Betty, 2012, page 35, is mystified by the West's refusal, under the spell of scientific materialization, to acknowledge the existence of spirits, end quote. One of Henry Hawksworth's altars, Peter, only came out when Peter was asleep. And that is scary, right? I mean, you sleepwalking, G. You done woke up and you standing at the top of the Empire State Building in your pajamas. How did you get up there? And how was you gonna get down? Right? One of Henry Hawksworth's altars, Peter, only came out when Henry was asleep. Billy Milligan, the multiple with 24 altars, was often in a trance as a boy. Dr. Brown observed that Billy's voice was, quote, almost trance like, end quote, sort of robotic. Billy just stared at him. Quote, what are your feelings? End quote, Brown asked him. Quote, like a dream that comes and goes, end quote, Billy replied. Quote, I see lots of things that aren't real. Hey, I'm the only kid who can take a trip without LSD. I get these nightmares that I can't describe. My body feels funny, and I'm real light and airy. There are times I think I can fly, end quote. OBE, ASC, genuinely psychotic, not according to Dr. Brown's diagnosis, which ignored the paranormal component entirely. Quote, severe hysterical neurosis with conversion reactions, APA code 300.18. Yeah, that sounds like somebody in the West trying to diagnose somebody. End quote. Keys, 1981, page 177. Nice, neat, sterile labels to file away, but missing the most important point: spiritual overshadowing. Dr. Hartman, 1984, page 159 and 147, came a little closer to the truth in identifying the nightmare sufferer's, quote, thin or permeable ego boundaries, end quote. The sense of being a solid self, quote, was less firm in the nightmare objects. I'm sorry. The sense of being, hold on. The sense of being a solid self, quote, was less firm in the nightmare subjects who experience not quite feeling themselves, not knowing who they were, not feeling their body was their own, end quote. Another multiple, Alex X, had, quote, screaming nightmares that tortured his sleep, gory mutilation nightmares accompanied by cold sweats and feelings of immense loneliness, also plagued by black pictures fast forwarding through his mind, end quote. C. Smith, 1998, page 73 and 138. Yet another multiple, Toby complained that nightmares kept her up all night. People were chasing her, hurting her. When Dr. Mayer set out to track down Toby's most reliable altar, he came upon, quote, not one, but a trinity. They claimed they were from the spiritual world, end quote. Whereon Mayer confessed that he was, quote, no expert on the spiritual world, the afterlife. Quite frankly, the subject confuses me, end quote. He would be in his comfort zone with, quote, some scientific explanation for such phenomena, end quote, as if the spirit of man were unscientific. And it has an asterisk. And at the bottom, the asterisk says, even though the human soul is as real as the flesh and blood body, it cannot be defined or demonstrated scientifically. Psychology pretends to provide a scientific explanation of human behavior, yet that is clearly impossible. Hunt and McMahon, 1988, page 163. Go back up. Okay. Yet the Trinity, having surfaced, Mayer wanted to know, who are you? Quote, we come from beyond, end quote. Go ask Dad. So you put it back instead of going to ask Dad. Because you know he's going to say no. Or you going to go ask? Go, all right, go ahead. Who are you? Quote, we come from beyond, end quote. They replied, quote, we're not part of her, end quote, i.e., not her other selves. The dialogue continued, the Trinity asking the doctor, what did he think happened to the soul after the body dies? He could not answer. He admits, quote, they treated me with patronizing disdain. Quote, your spiritual awareness is that of a flea. End quote. That might be our title today. Like, bro, you are, I was about to say dumb. You are spiritually dense. The spirit, he admits, he admits, quote, they treated me with patronizing disdain, saying, they said to him, your spiritual awareness is that of a flea, end quote. Mayer, 1989, page 7, 81, 155 through 157. Materialist science confidently but falsely asserts that, quote, the dreamer is the author of his dream. He and he alone determines who shall be invited into his dream, end quote. Hall, 1953, page 30. Quote, the images of the nightmare are only your own thought forms, end quote. But some dreams, objective ones, are more than just a dream and more than thought forms, whatever that is. Departed loved ones, for example, often come to us in our sleep. So might, quote, the angels who talk to him, man, in his sleep and show him what What? Let me read that again. Departed loved ones, for example, often come to us in our sleep. So hold on. Is this a question? No. So might so might the angels who talk to him, man, in his sleep and show him what is for his own good. So, okay. Let me read it again. I got it. Departed loved ones, for example, often come to us in our sleep. So might the angels who talk to him, man, in his sleep and show him what is for his own good. Oahspe Book of Sathantes, chapter 10, verse 5. There is, however, no end to the pretentious twaddle that explains away the dream or fearsome nightmare. Nightmares may simply reveal to the dreamer the awesome transcendent power of the sacred, beyond good and evil. Quote, beyond good and evil. Bokili, 1995, pages 48 through 49, 98, and 2008, pages 270 to 271. And I think we're gonna pause after this, not this next quote, but the quote on page 146. We gotta pause right there. I'll put this here. Okay. There is, however, no end to the pretentious twaddle that explains away the dream or the fearsome nightmare. Quote, nightmares may simply reveal to the dreamer the awesome transcendent power of the sacred, quote, beyond good and evil. Bukili, 1995, 48 through 49, 98, 2008, pages 270 to 71. But it is not beyond evil. In fact, it may well be a direct experience of evil. The same writer I have just quoted, Kelly Bukili, analyzes someone's recurrent nightmare, quote, as reflecting the primal glimmers of mortality that have haunted the sleep of children throughout history. Let me read that again. In fact, it may be well a direct experience of evil. The same writer I have just quoted, Kelly Bukili, analyzes someone's recurrent nightmare, quote, as reflecting the primal glimmers of mortality that have haunted the sleep of children throughout history, end quote. Does this elegant bosh I was about to say, like, okay, does this elegant bosh mean anything to you? In the end, the same author decides not to fuss over, quote, where they nightmares come from, but what their effects are. Quote, nightmares function as signals of a disruption in the dreamer's relationship with the sacred. Their nightmares show them or the dream it showed them who the dreamers the dangers of approaching the sacred without proper caution and respect, end quote. Bukili, 2008, page 50. Twaddle. Yet isn't it strange that Bukili, the author of this sappy guesswork, she pretty much saying this is garbage what she just said. Twaddle. Yet isn't it strange that Bukili, the author of this sappy guesswork, pushing nightmares off into meaningless metaphysics and sanctimonious New Age babble, quotes from the story of a devout Muslim who helps a demon-infested patient. Quote, aha, the Muslim concludes, it is a bala, demon that is attacking you, end quote. The Muslim then proceeds to do a ritual clearing, and it happens that an onlooking Indian psychoanalyst notes the result of the Muslim's work. The analyst's own therapy on the same patient had been ineffective. He quips, quote, as far as a quick cure of this particular patient's symptoms is concerned, I must admit that the score stands demonology 1, psychology 0. But Bukili's specialty is, quote, objectivity, end quote, the school of neutrality, de rigor in Western science. After providing the reader with a wealth of religious traditions that teach, quote, that during sleep, people are vulnerable to attack from malevolent spiritual beings, end quote. And also, after finding a, quote, close match, end quote, between the modern nightmare and the pre-modern view of, quote, spiritual attack, end quote, in sleep, he slowly begins backing off in true academic evasion, arguing that we don't have to, quote, get bogged down in debates over natural versus supernatural causation, end quote. But this is precisely the issue that must be reckoned with, quote, a pragmatic approach like mine, end quote. I'm sorry, it's not, end quote. A, quote, a pragmatic approach like mine, Bukele tries to convince us and himself, sets aside metaphysical controversies, end quote. Cop out. Instead, he offers the statement of life. He offers the student of life the bland and meaningless alternative of, quote, an empirically based phenomenology of recurrent forms, functions, and personal meanings of human dream experience, end quote. What does this pile up of words really mean? I love Susan. Listen, she like Bosh, Twaddle, Poppycock. What does this pile up of words really mean? The Smarmy argument, moreover, includes the false claim that his view of therapy, psychology, is aimed at healing, quote, the whole person, end quote. The whole person without the big picture, without the gestalt, without the soul. I don't think so. Using the, quote, pragmatic approach, end quote, to nightmares, he sets, quote, aside the metaphysical concepts used in different religions, end quote, i.e., the concept of the soul, pointing instead to some abstract, quote, greater existential self awareness, end quote. Sounds pretty metaphysical to me as the solution, but no thanks. The school of neutrality succeeds only in talking its way out of the real issues, a jumble of phrases that signify nothing. Bukele, 1995, page 48 to 49, 98, and 2008, page 270 to 271. Quote, the demon theory will have its innings again, end quote. And that's William James. Can we honestly believe that these alleged thought forms can come to terrorize us in sleep? That is what psychology is telling us. Quote, the remarkable images he has crafted, emphasis added on he has crafted, often defy his understanding, end quote, according to Montague Ullman on Dreamers, 1999, page 6. But why would human beings, whose basic instinct is supposedly survival, bother to, quote, craft, end quote, these horrendous, threatening images in his sleep? And if they are in fact of his own creations, why should they, quote, defy his understanding, end quote? The alleged unconscious, dear reader, is not the answer. Thought forms are not the answer. Quote, greater existential self-awareness, end quote, is not the answer. And that's what we're pausing at today. And we're gonna pick this back up tomorrow. This is good. I missed your comment. Tabitha, you must have left that comment a while ago when I was talking about the the eating habits and spirits being able to attack you, and they get a way in because of those things and your habits and stuff. Yep. How do they enter and leave our body? What is their path? What is their path entry to the body? Is it through the mouth or the nostril? Ooh, well, that's a good question. Kendrick, I believe it's whatever opening they can find on the body. Just my thoughts. Yeah, I believe that. Okay, so I guess you can kind of look at it in a couple different ways. Okay, so if they can pierce your light ovum or your aura, right, or your spiritual field, right, when your light gets a little dark around you, like if you, here's how I kind of picture it, right? if I'm looking at you as a vibration, or if I'm looking at you as a light body and what's happening, the place where you're weakest, say if you have eating habits, whether you're eating too much or you're trying to starve yourself because of an imbalance of your perception of yourself, or whatever they call it, bulimia, right? Is it bulimia? I think so. Any kind of eating disorder. I would think the light around maybe your mouth, maybe your stomach might begin to dim, right? And so they can pierce your aura or your light by there. If maybe your eye gates, maybe you're into porn or something like that, maybe eyes and probably eyes, ears, and maybe like brain area that'll be kind of dimmed grade or whatever. If it's of a sexual nature, you're promiscuous or whatever, the light around that area, maybe front and back, maybe dimmed, and they come in through that area, be like spiritually. And I don't know what I mean. Well, the way we read it, it's like they're actually on the inside of us. But I think it's a combination of both, right? Until they can actually get inside of you, whereas now you done flip like, hey guys, now Billy is speaking, or somebody flip out and you doing these switches, and now somebody else then took over. Clearly somebody's on the inside of you now. They not just oppressing you and hanging out, trying to get you to do stuff and saying little things to kind of and what's the word I'm looking for? Um to inspire you to do certain things. Now it's I don't know. I think, yeah, the bondage, you have gotten so weak in some place where they can actually step in and begin to operate your vehicle. They push you over to the side. Sometimes they put you in the back seat. Some of y'all is riding in the trunk of your car. Infiltrate. Thank you, Kizzy. Infiltrate. I said inspire. Yeah, they inspire. They infiltrate your thoughts and everything, and you at the point where you can't decipher if this is your own. Well, a lot of them can. They can decipher. If it's their thought or another. But sometime at the very beginning, and when it's ever so slight and subtle, like when things are just beginning to happen, before your habit really has you locked in, it's ever so slight and subtle when you almost thinking that's your thought. But when they get in you and you can feel them on the inside of you, you can clearly tell that it's not you. Like you hear the voices on the inside of you, like trying to get out, trying to get you to do things. So I think it's a gradual progression to the taking over and the driving, parasites, whatever you want to call them. Kevin, shalom. Maybe chakra points. Yeah, they could enter, right? Yeah, right. Look, yeah, they could enter through the chakra points, right? You could use that, right? So whatever light on your ladder of light is dim, you normally tend to have problems in there, like if it's sensual, sexual, anything to do with like security, anything is like the lower two chakras, like the root chakra and the sacral chakra, you having issues there, right? So you can get, people can think about it, yeah, people can get demon possessed by having sex with multiple partners, being promiscuous, right? You just kind of like open your door, you dim your lights, and it's like you leave the door unlocked for all type of people to come running in and up and through you in more ways than one, right? And it causes an infestation on multiple levels in your body and your spirit, right? So yeah, I'm thinking that's how they enter through whatever weakness, right? Yeah, absolutely is, Kevin. Absolutely. I agree with that. All right, y'all. So yeah, so that is it for today. This is where we will pause. Thank y'all for hanging out. Y'all, it is Monday, November the 28th, 2022, day 274 of year 4, reading through the books of the law and the prophets, another 4-year consecutive day count, day 1294. Today we read in Oahspe the rest of the synopsis of 16 cycles. We began on page 55 and ended on page 58, and then we hopped over here back to the Field Guide to the Spirit World to chapter 6, entitled The Unseen Guest. And we picked back up on page 142 and we read all the way to page 146. I hope y'all got something today out of all this. Not too many shenanigans. We just kind of got through it. But now we got to go. All right, so Father, we thank you for the Cosmon era. I don't ever think we said that. We thank you for the Cosmon era, the era of the enlightenment of spiritual things. Yeah, I don't think we ever used that one. All right, beautiful people. Jamia, shalom, shalom. Tabitha said, I was watching a Muslim channel and they make sure to wash inside their nostrils because they believe it is the pathway for evil spirit entry. But I need to go back to listen to it better. I've seen that in movies too, right? I've seen that, right? And that could be a lot of truth to that. It very well could be. Yeah, so I guess it could, right? Because you see, well, I guess, right. Okay, so if you watch movies, and also, if you've ever been present when somebody has passed, when they take their last breath, it's like a right, and that's their spirit leaving their body, not like their last breath, but it's literally like a breath of release, and within that breath, the spirit comes out as well, right? So if you've been present, you know that to be true if you pay attention, if you was actually there. I was there with my father when that happened. And it was quite interesting. But also they show that in movies as well. So yeah, Tabitha. You know what? I'm glad you asked that. I seen her spell her name before. I was like, is it 1B or 2B? So every time I respond, I say 1B or 2B, and I gotta think back and see. I say she wrote 2B's, and so I'll be putting 2B's. I think a couple times I did put 1B. Tabitha is spelled with 2B's. Tabitha is Keon Cooper. Remember, she using her son's account. Tabitha, you need to create your own account, sis. We didn't got used to seeing Keon Cooper though. All right. But yeah, so it's probably a lot of truth to that, where it enters maybe in through the nostril and maybe it comes out through the mouth with the last breath. I don't know. Inhale, exhale. I don't know. But so I'm sure it probably has some truth to it. But also it pierces their spirit in wherever they're the weakest at, right? So but we may actually see that the actual entering of the body, it could possibly be through one of those faculties. So, but I'm not sure. Maybe we can find some more research on it or something, somebody that's tested that. But I definitely know how the spirit leaves. It leaves through the mouth. With that last breath. That I want to say 100%, but I really can't say 100. But it's just like one of them things you got to. Hopefully, you don't have to be there. The subconscious mind, you think the spirit enters through the subconscious mind, or demonic possession happens? I'm sure it's definitely a path. People who can't get a hold of their thoughts or whatever. I don't know. But that's a good topic though. We should probably look into that. I don't know. But all right, y'all, we got to get out of here. Isaiah, come here. He asked. Come here. All right, we about to get out of here, y'all. Oh, I saw some of y'all saw the post. The Holy Megillah. It is still for sale. My mom, I'm glad she went back. Okay, so if you're a part of their mailing list, I'm about to end it. Okay, but I had just thought another thought. You was going back to sleep. Okay, hold on, give me 1 second. If you're on the mailing list, they of course they send you out mail or whatever, but this particular one, it came in one of them like 9x11 white envelopes, and it didn't have like a return address. It just had to me or whatever, and I set it off to the side. And I remember going back to open it. I was like, oh, this from the Essenes church or whatever. So, but I opened it when I saw it. I was like, okay, and I'll come back to it later. I should have went ahead and read it because it gave some of the updates of things that we're trying to figure out now. And so my mom called me yesterday. She said, Pam, wait a minute, hold on. She said, because they sent a letter talking about what they was about to do. I was like, what? I was like, oh, and I normally be on top of everything, but that clearly passed by. So when people saying the website not up and stuff, but anyway, this particular newsletter, this one they sent, it's the fall newsletter. They explained what was about to happen, right? So they said, darn it, two. Okay, let me just sum it up instead of running upstairs to get it. They said that there would be some changes. Day on, the guy who's kind of been pretty much heading up everything, he's actually going into what they call a semi-retirement, right? So you got other people coming through the ranks and they're kind of taking over some stuff. And his website and all that stuff, when it went down, he said that it would not be coming back up. They are in the process of doing another one and transitioning things over. So that'll be up, but it's not up yet, right? So there's not a website up yet for this organization that's currently printing the Holy Megillah, right? So it'll be up. I'm not exactly sure when, but for the ordering of the book, you still can mail in a money order. One of the updates that they have done is people can actually call and order it by phone via credit card. That's your personal preference if you want to do that, if you feel comfortable enough to give your information over the phone, right? I've never done it with them because I've only ordered once, and I did it via money order through the mail, right? And like I said, I had the materials in 2 weeks, and it was no funny business. They did what they said they was gonna do, right? So you can choose to do that. Also, quick boy. Also, they said that there is an addition that they're doing to the Holy Megillah. They already got some printed out, and I'm about to end it. Give me like 2 minutes. And what they've added to it is an extra 25 chapters that's been hold on, Jamia. I says, I don't know. She said, so was he made to step down? I'm not sure. I don't know about all that. But according to the newsletter, this is what they said. 25 chapters have been added to more of the scroll that they have that they translated. So that's been added, which amounts to about 200 pages, right? So that's being added. And the new printings right now, the new printings of it, the updated version is only available to those who are already a part of the mailing list. So if you already have it, and when you send in your order form, you check the box to subscribe to their mailing list, or you could have actually did that when their website was still up and you could join it, right? Why would they take down the site when the next site isn't even ready? Makes no sense. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. Maybe I should maybe I should go get this and read this. Hold on 1 second. That's what I thought, Jamia. Okay, go back up. Go back up. I thought you were up. I know. I gotta borrow this in 1 second. Okay, I'm gonna have to pull it up right here. That's what I thought. Okay. Okay. Here's what they said. Okay. Omna announcements. Announcement 1. New Megillah edition and 2023 Nazarene calendar now available. Announcement 1. Enclosed, you will find the following items. A fall issue of Essene Path, which I have that. B, order form for the new hardback edition of the Holy Megillah with 20 new chapters totaling 200 new pages. This is not the final edition of the Megillah. No paperback available this time, right? So even with this updated 20 something new chapters translated, they said this is not the final edition, so they haven't translated all that they have, right? So I guess they're gonna keep making updates and putting out editions until they have all of what they have translated. But they wait till they get a bulk of it translated until it's a good enough portion to add and make it a new edition, right? Let's see. Order form for the new hardback edition of the Holy Megillah with 20 new chapters oh shoot, totaling 200 pages. This is not the final edition of the Megillah. No paperback available this time. C. Order form for the 2023 Nazarene calendar is enclosed. Announcement number 2. Days semi-retirement and important changes. Announcement 2. My Day of Greenleaf, right? That's what they call him, Day of Greenleaf. His name is David Owen, but for short, they shortened David to Day. And he lived in Greenleaf, Oregon. So they call him Day of Greenleaf, like Joan of Arc. Okay, my Day of Greenleaf, semi-retirement, is very close, and I have already begun the transition. I will now explain. 2 years ago, I announced that A, my semi-retirement will begin on my 65th birthday, which will be this coming January 11th. B, I explained that everything that I have been doing related to my esteemed church ministry will be shifted to be under the heading of Circle of Love of the Holy Megillah. And they have that in bold, bold letters and quotes. What you call the single quotes. The I probably should know that, right? But anyway, it's going to be shifted. Hold on. I explained that everything that I have been doing related to my Essene Church ministry will be shifted to be under the heading of Circle of Lovers of the Holy Megillah, which itself includes an Essene Church component called Nazarene Church of the Essene Way. Starting on January 1st, 2023, my old church ministry called Essene Church of Christ will cease to exist, and your entire monthly tithe will be made to Circle of Lovers instead of Essene Church. So it's people that pay tithes and offerings to them, right? So, yeah, this is instruction for them. So all you need to remember in regard to your monthly tithe and when you order books from us is that you will now make your checks or money orders out to Circle of Lovers. Since most of you have been sending one check each month for Essene Church of Christ tithe and another check each month for Circle of Lovers tithe, this change will save you some trouble. Please combine whatever you are sending in the two checks and just send it as one total amount made out to Circle of Lovers. It is fine to start doing that now, but it is also fine to wait until January the 1st because some people will forget and some book orders from people who do not receive this mailing will continue to come in made out to Essene Church. I will keep that account open for a period of time. The several of you that have set up automatic monthly donations from your bank to our bank or similar arrangements will need to change it to Circle of Lovers and may need to contact me for that bank info. What do I mean by the term semi-retirement and how does it affect you? By semi-retirement, I mean that I will confine my Essene ministry to the following things, which would now be done under the heading of Circle of Lovers of the Holy Megillah. 1. I will continue putting out Essene Path, Omna, and Essene Yoga Fellowship lessons and will oversee the work of Circle of Lovers and its bookstore called The Lighthouse and continue the live monthly Essene services on Zoom. In order to find more time each week to work on completing the final edition of the Holy Megillah, I am eliminating my YouTube channel and the Essene Church of Christ webpage. The reasons for my choosing not hold on. The reasons for my choosing not to have a YouTube channel are explained in a very important article enclosed in the fall issue of Essene Path. That article is my Gee Whiz, Ask a Green Wizard column in the enclosed issue of Path. Read it. And he has read it in bold capital letters with 3 exclamation points. So we'll go back there and read it because I got that up here too. I scanned everything in. Note, Circle will continue to make our videos available on the members only Vimeo platform, and eventually a Circle webpage will appear under a domain name that we have purchased, EsseneBible.com. Don't try that yet because it has not yet been created. Currently, several hours of my time every day has been going toward the web page and the YouTube channel, even though most of what comes in from those sources is junk mail, porn, and hate mail from the fundamentalist Christians. Dealing with all that negative energy several hours per day is really all that I am retiring from. Those hours would now go toward finishing the Megillah. Okay. And that was the end of that. So this letter that they put out for fall 2022, the first part of it is entitled Magdalene on Massage and Tantra. I didn't finish getting through all that, but I'm like, I'm gonna need to read this. Right? Hold on, can you see that? You can see it on Facebook, but I think that's what the newsletter looked like. But I have all of this too, and the newsletter is about, like, I scanned everything in. I got like it's like a total of everything, 35 pages. And if you all would like a copy of this, which will actually, like, in PDF format, which inside of the PDF is the order form for those of you that don't have it yet and want to order it. All of that is included in here. And if you want a copy of this, just email me, let me know, hey, send me the order form, newsletter, or whatever. Say something, put in the title, send me the whatever. Just refer to this and I know what you're talking about. Okay, so let's go to this, what he said go to in here. So it's going to tell a deeper story. Gee whiz. Okay. It starts on page 10 of this. Wait a minute. See, I didn't read all. Hold on, let me see. Let me see which part I'm going to read because I didn't finish going through all of this. And this whole gee whiz goes, in this issue, we answer, is there a wizardly reason that Dave Greenleaf took down his YouTube channel? Let me see. Listen. Who yet? 151. Let me see. I'm not going to read all of it. So I'm just going to try and pull out and get exactly to why, because he looks like he's explaining a couple different things through here. I'm just trying to get to the meat of it and just like answer the question, like go to the point, like give me that. But he's giving like some background. Yeah, he's giving some background stuff. But let me read this first little portion right here. Is there a wizardly reason that Day of Greenleaf took down his YouTube channel? In regard to the question that I will in regard to the question that I will answer in this issue number 38, that question being, is there a wizardly reason that Day of Greenleaf took down his YouTube channel? The short answer is, of course, there is. In the following paragraphs, you will get not only a longer answer to that question, but will also receive extremely important information about the nefarious algorithms developed by Google to run YouTube. Google owns YouTube. We all know that. And shocking results of scientific studies that demonstrate that modern humans are losing the ability to pay attention. You will learn that this problem and a host of others are directly related to the algorithm of various forms of social media, and that it is being done on purpose, even though the perpetrators, big tech, know that it is driving the world crazy. And he says he's going to share some excerpts from an amazing new book entitled Stolen Focus, Why You Can't Pay Attention. Hold on. So he's going into that a little bit. I'm trying to get to the just evidence. Yep, he continues that. Yeah. I skipped over a couple pages. He says, since my readers are, for the most part, the sort of folks that do those positive things just mentioned above, yoga, tai chi, meditation, etc., that explains why you have the ability to actually stay focused enough to read my long articles. Actually, that is a true fact. Only people who have a high degree of focused attention capability can read my articles or books. That is why I may in the future create a line of children's picture book styles for adults. Okay, so I thought it was pretty cool. Um, okay, he's just kind of going through this research, and he talking about how it's making people dumber. That's summed up in my words. The evidence is clear. Earl told me there is no alternative if you want to do things well to focus carefully on one thing at a time. All right. All right. He's still kind of going through that, giving you some background stuff. Then he says, if you, and I noticed that about some of his articles, they are pages long. Like I said, all of this together is 35 pages. And most people, when they get pamphlets in the mail, they just kind of they skim through them and they toss them to the side, like I kind of did with the last one, because I know I'm gonna need a little bit of time to sit down and focus on it. But what I found out is once you start reading, he starts sharing little things towards the middle for those diligent students who actually take the time to read through it. So he do share some nuggets of truth and some things that are available to people in the midst of his stuff if you make it that far, right? So just in case you get it, uh be mindful of that, remember that, right? And I just kind of thought that's smart, right? Because a lot of people, they say, yeah, I read it. Okay, so what you think about the surprise? What surprise? What you think about a surprise? And they like dumbfounded. That's how he can tell he testing to see who actually did it. And so he kind of explained some of that stuff when I first ordered it, that first pamphlet that you get. And he talks about like a mystery school that they developed, right? Not saying you got to join the mystery school or anything, but you can. But it's something that they developed to in their way to help people develop and grow spiritually. And they use the Megillah as the textbook for the study course. And with it, they also send you like a first little course if you want to take it. That way, he was talking about some higher truths and things that they haven't translated yet, which they didn't include in the Megillah, which I'm apt to believe is true based on what I understand about information that the elders in Kenya said that they got a hold of, right? So I'm apt to believe that they got some of that stuff, right? And it gets into some deeper spiritual things. And I'm like, oh shoot, I need to know what they're talking about. So I'm working through it just to get this other stuff that they said that they got, right? I'm just like, you know what? I don't know if this is a good thing or if this is a bad thing. But I got this thing about materials and research, especially ancient doctrines, not ancient doctrines, but ancient documents and scrolls. It's like, give it to me. I don't care if I can't translate it, can't read it yet. That's why I got a different few different Torahs and stuff in different types, and it's all in Paleo Hebrew. I got some in modern Hebrew. I was like, I don't care because and I be going through. I can translate. Just give me a little bit of time, and I got to go letter by letter, translate one line, and then I got to make sure. Okay, I got to remember the proper way to read it. I'm like, okay, now I got to finish translating all this other stuff to make sure I keep it in proper context. So that process is a whole heck of a lot slower than them translating stuff and me putting together what I need. So I'm like, man, y'all ever seen that meme? Y'all know Pennywise, right? From the movie by what's the guy? I forget his name. It the clown or whatever. Y'all ever seen that meme? And they got um uh I seen it quite a few different times, but I thought about this yesterday. It was raining and it was cold yesterday, and I couldn't find my letter because I just kind of tossed it to the side and it got mixed up. And I want to say, I think I threw it away when I was cleaning off my desk and stuff, not realizing I set this up there and it got mixed into the stack of stuff. So my mama still had hers. And so it was raining outside yesterday and it was cold. And and earlier today, my mom called and she said, what y'all doing? I said, nothing. It's raining outside. We ain't going nowhere. So we was just lazing around the whole day, right? But my mama said, girl, I found it. I was like, I'm on my way, right? Pennywise could be in a gutter trying to lure people in. And if I would be walking by this gutter, that Pennywise, he let a balloon loose, like, hey, sis, I got the new Torah scroll. I'd stop and I consider it, and I ask him, what version you got? You like, I got to come down here. tell me what version first. I would consider it because it's an ancient doctrine and I love books and it might add to my understanding of stuff and help me put pieces together. Now that was a bit of exaggeration. I ain't gonna clam down on no gutter, but just to let you know my love and the extent that I would go, there's certain limits. I ain't selling nothing, right? But there are certain limits that I'll go to get certain ancient documents and things that's not available to the masses. I would even give up cash. Like I have given up a lot of cash for certain things that I have, right? And the more expensive they make it, the more they want to price people out that they think shouldn't have it, which makes me want it more, right? So I'm like, okay, how much? $3,000. I've never paid them. Just an exaggeration, right? $3,000. Y'all remember that one time there was this thing that they had in Russia? They put that jank for sale for 8,000. They put it on eBay, hot commodity, right? I'm like, you know what? They don't want nobody to have this. They made it $8,000, but I need it. But somebody else got it. I wasn't gonna pay that. And my husband, he was talking about it, he said, "You better not." I was like, "Babe, I'm not. I was just saying." It must be something that we really need because they made it like $8,000, right? Right, Kizzy? Because listen, like let me tell you, listen. Let me tell you why we need this. Well, I'm gonna justify why I need to spend this money to get this ancient document, right? Listen, okay, hold up. So that's what he does. He hides stuff, and I like that he does that because he can really see who's kind of like really there to learn and really pay attention and really absorb into things, right? They actually take the time and go through this stuff. So I'm like, you know what? I'm glad my nosiness paid off. You got a nosy child. I can almost guarantee you they on the track to be a great researcher when they get older. That's a talent. Just learn how to develop it in the right way, right? I was so nosy that my aunt gave me the nickname Miss Privilege when I was younger because I thought anytime the adults was talking, I had to be present to find out what was being said because I needed to relay it to my sister, my brother, and my cousin. Listen, this is what they talking about. What we gonna do about this? We just got a 14-volume book set from the East and the Middle East. What set? Faith is Ministry, Shalom. Okay, hold on. Where'd I go? I think there's a couple things in here, but I'm gonna send it to you. If y'all want this, I ain't gonna okay, here go. My reasons on page 24, it says my reasons. Reason number one that I have taken down my Day of Greenleaf YouTube channel is the revelation that the Google algorithm is designed to create conflict over my and anyone else's videos. I invite you to pay close attention to the following. Repeat some of the words on this topic from Johan Hari's book, Stolen Focus. Quote, one day, Tristan was shown how this dynamic works when he was approached by a man named Gulami Cheslot, I probably screwed it up, who had been an engineer designing and administering the algorithm that picks out the videos that are recommended to you on YouTube when you watch a video there. Just like Facebook, YouTube makes more money the longer you watch. That's why they designed it so that when you stop watching one video, it automatically recommends and plays another one for you. How are those videos selected? YouTube also has an algorithm, and it has figured that you will keep watching longer if you see things that are outrageous, shocking, and extreme. Gulami, I'm probably saying that wrong, had seen how it works with all the data YouTube keeps secret, and he saw what it meant in practice. If you watched a factual video about the Holocaust, it would recommend several more videos, each one getting more extreme, and within a chain of 5 or so videos, it would usually end up automatically playing a video denying the Holocaust happened. If you watch the normal video about 9/11, it will often recommend a 9/11 truther video in a similar way. I've noticed this. This is good. They caught this and wrote this out. This isn't because the algorithm or anyone at YouTube is a Holocaust denier or 9/11 truther. It was simply selecting whatever would most shock and compel people to watch longer. Tristan started to look into this and concluded no matter where you start, you will end up more crazy. And so it goes on, and he said, above scenario that is the YouTube formula, the above scenario that is the YouTube formula does not seem to like anything that any wizard of white magic would have anything to do once being made aware of. And if you read through his stuff, that first pamphlet, I will say like the incoming pamphlet that they give you when you order the the Megillah, they talk about like white magic, wizards of white magic, green magic, all this other stuff. When they give like definitions on what they mean by it, right? Um, the second number two, a second reason that I closed my YouTube channel is that even if the horrible algorithm described above did not exist, though it does exist, I did not like the fact that when people watch my videos, they would be getting offered videos whose content I very much disagreed with. It was putting me in a position of leading my own viewers and students to persons and content that I very much do not support. I can understand that. Three, um, here is a fascinatingly sinister thing related to the algorithm described in number 1 above. Part of that formula is that my videos got recommended by the algorithm to fundamentalist YouTube channel viewers that love, for example, Apostle Paul. Why? Because my videos were critical of the Pauline epistles, writings of Paul. The YouTube algorithm purposely recommended my video on that topic to viewers that are pro Paul, which is why sometimes I get a lot of crit when that's making some sense. Yo, the porn spammers, that's how they be finding out I'm live. When I do topics, that makes sense. When I do topics and we talk about anything of a sexual nature, according to this and like the right way, it's a little bit of shenanigans in the video when we talk about it, right? But if I add that anywhere in the title, I notice I get a little bit more shenaniganizing people who are actually promoting what we do not agree with. They come in here, we see it. They come in here posting porn spam links and stuff, right? So even though like we're talking against it, it's like putting us in a mix. It's like he said, it's creating confusion, right? And somebody like, get them out of the chat, block them. I'm sending them to the YouTube hell knot as soon as I get a chance. But that makes sense because I couldn't understand. I'm like, how is it that they always seem to pop up? Like in none of the videos am I saying, oh my gosh, it ain't got nothing to do with it. It's actually the opposite. But the thing that we're teaching against, it actually brings it in. So that's what they said YouTube is doing. They're creating confusion. Okay, I understand it. Okay. Number 3, here's a fascinatingly sinister thing related to the algorithm described in number 1 above. Part of that formula is that my videos got recommended by the algorithm to fundamentalist YouTube channel viewers that love, for example, Apostle Paul. Why? Because my videos were critical of the Pauline epistles, writings of Paul. The YouTube algorithm purposely recommended my video on that topic to viewers that are pro-Paul. That led me to getting vicious hate mail and phone calls from angry Pauline fundamentalists, right? Angry Christians emailing me trying to save my soul. This makes sense. Oh my gosh, this makes sense. And that's just one example. YouTube does the same thing with mine or anyone else's videos on any topic. They recommend it so that they recommend it to those that will most dislike it. So in reason number 1 above, I pointed out that the algorithm will recommend to my viewers progressively more angry and contrary videos. Now, in this reason 3, I'm pointing out that YouTube also will recommend my videos to those that will most despise it. And number 4, and he has number 4 in all caps and bold letters. Due to the above, my experience of having the YouTube channel progressively became a very negative life experience, which leads to my fourth reason for ending it. Reason 4 is that the experience of having the YouTube channel was extremely unpleasant due to the mix of hateful, violent, and just plain crazy communication that was filling my incoming email and phone messages. I'm really glad he took the time to type this out, right? So now that we know this, we can be ahead of the game and we can expect this and we can figure out a way to counteract all of this, right? I'm grateful for this. And I'm gonna read this last little thing right here. They is real messy. Look, kids, quite a few people say you should start the podcast, but Kara, I got so much stuff going on. That would be great if I could take these videos and turn them into a podcast and like upload all the previous ones I did. That would be amazing, right? But it takes time to do that, and I'm short on that for now. But I'm gonna figure it out. I eventually do, but we got to figure it out, my time schedule and stuff. Okay. Number 5, because my YouTube channel was linked to my webpage, a high volume of email began coming into the webpage email that was extremely negative. Between the YouTube and webpage incoming communications, I found myself having to spend several hours each workday just sorting through the incoming mails and phone calls. Although there was some nice communications, the vast majority was negative, hateful, threatening, and truth be told, even much of the positive feedback was from real crazy people that were demanding that I be in deep ongoing communication with them or else. Excuse me. We were selling more copies of the Megillah, but many of the buyers were people that began using it in an inappropriate manner and became very unpleasant to deal with. For the 6 months immediately preceding the closing of both my webpage and YouTube channel, I was not able to work even one single day on finishing the Megillah translation due to the time that went into dealing with not only the initial incoming, mostly negative or insane communications, but then dealing with a growing array of crazy people that would not leave me alone. Now, if I did not have an important task like finishing the Megillah on my plate, the demands on my time might not matter as much. But as it was enough to prevent me from being able to work on the Megillah even one day the past 6 months. And that's all I'm going to read right here. It actually goes on. It's talking about postscript. Hold on. I will read this. He says, postscript. The several weeks since closing down my YouTube channel, replaced by our Vimeo video archive for Essene Path subscribers and webpage to reopen after the Megillah is completed. I have worked many days on the Megillah and am greatly enjoying life again. So okay, I understand that's good for him, right? But he doesn't mention anything in here about the lawsuit or anything like that, which if there is, they would be prevented from talking about it anyway. So he just gave us all the other stuff that was happening. So now you know everything in a nutshell. You can still get it. If you don't have it, if you want the actual printed copy, and I would recommend, it is $100. And the new updated version, they said as of now, is still, they're gonna keep it the same price. It's still gonna be $100 plus the $17 for shipping and handling, right? So say $117. But I would recommend it, right? Even though you got a PDF that somebody scanned and that's, being circulated. What's not included in that is the wealth of information and resources and knowledge that you find in the footnotes. Like all of that stuff, it gives the references like we read through here in Oahspe, and it has the reference number 1 and the letter references. All of that is what's not in that PDF. Like it is priceless information. So that's why I would recommend. Like I love my PDFs, the ease of carrying my books around with me everywhere I go, right? So if I find a moment where I'm bored, I open up something and I start reading or I start listening. But sometimes I need pages that I can touch. because I need to use my highlighter, because that's how I learn the best. Going back, going through things, revisiting things, being able to pinpoint. I know you can do highlights and bookmarks and stuff up here, but ain't nothing like the fabric of the real paper between my fingers. It's just, I don't know, it's this kinesthetic, is that right? Kinesthetic type of thing, right? And it just makes learning better. And it's just, I don't know. I guess it's a little bit more expensive, but to each his own. I'm just saying, right? And I can pass this wealth of knowledge down to my children. And if something go awry with electronics, blackout or grid go down, whatever, you know, I got this, right? But you know, anyway, y'all, that's it. Where can you get it from? You got to order it. They have the order form. Like I said, I posted it yesterday. I'm not sure that you can print like the picture if you go to the community section. That's why I said email me and I can email you the PDF. I email you this whole document, which is 35 pages. In it, at the very beginning, the first page is the order form, right? It's the order form, and it's, hold on. It's the order form, the announcements, and the invitation to order the calendar and all that stuff. But anyway, that's there. So it's right here. Hold on. Can you see it? And so what you would do, it's probably too bright. But anyway, you will see it in the community section, but this is what you need. And so all you do is just cut this bottom part off, get your money order. It tells you who to make it out to and where to send it. Yeah. And how much. So enclosed is my check or money order for a total of, and it has $114 per copy, which includes the postage made out to Lighthouse Spiritual Bookstore. And you put your name, your mailing address, and your phone number, right? So it gives you all the directions up here. They even give you the phone number, right? The phone number is up here where you can call. If they don't answer, I do recommend leaving a message with your information, right? They give you about a minute and a half to talk. Then it's going to beep. It's going to cut you off if you're long-winded, right? Ask me how I know that. I didn't have to redo my message a couple times. Like, okay, Pam, just give him what he asked for and quit adding extra stuff. All right, my name is Pamela Murphy. My phone number, you know, but anyway, y'all get it, right? Keep it nice, short, and sweet, and they will return your call when they get to it, right? Because they're flooded with stuff. So, but they are really good about getting back to you. They also has the email address up here. So all of this is there. If you want it, like I said, email me, tell me, hey, send me the PDF or the order form, something of that nature where I know what you're talking about to get the Megillah. And I'll send you the whole thing. And then you just print it off from your end and do whatever and read through this. Listen, when I go out here, I'm gonna share with y'all. I got a screenshotted PDF, right? But if you order it, they're gonna probably send it to you. But I want you to read the document, the little thick document that they send you, on what's in there and what you get and what they share and other references that they have available. They don't just put it all out. This is everything we got, because and I get the theory in doing that, because you don't want to just print out and just put out a bunch of stuff that people ain't gonna be looking at, that they didn't even request, right? So you make it available for those who are looking for it, right? So there's like no waste and all of that stuff, right? So if you ask me for it, I know you really want it, right? But yeah. All right. And that's it, y'all. That's it. Gotta go on and get out of here. So I love y'all. I think Isaiah probably fell asleep. Isaiah! He sleep? Is he sleep? Is he sleep? He might be asleep. I might just go on and end this. I'm about to end the video. Somebody coming. All right, y'all. Thank you, Vinette. All right. Yeah. So just email me and I'll send it to y'all here shortly. You're welcome. All right. Love y'all. I will see y'all back here tomorrow morning, bright and early, 6:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yes, Kendra, have a beautiful day, everyone. May we all try to uplift someone's day today, whether in deed or in speech. Even a smile can turn someone's day around. All praises to the Creator. Yes, I agree with that. Yes, go ahead and end it now. I love y'all. I'm out of here. Peace. Facebook didn't even hear me say peace. Bye, y'all.